Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to talk a little bit about writing dynamic code opposed to say hard coding something. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like I want to talk a little bit about like more of like a functional approach to writing your JavaScript and even like your global CSS. So let's start with CSS and then we'll go a little bit deeper into say JavaScript. So when I talk about global, what you want to aim for while writing your CSS, and this can be just an organic site that you're building, or it can be something that's like a landing page or a microsite, or whether you're developing a WordPress theme. You want to write your CSS starting global. You want to think global, you want to think dynamic. Basically what you don't want to do is you don't want to style individual elements within your HTML, because now you've just walled yourself in. And I've learned this the hard way, and I just want to put a disclaimer out there that I've made these mistakes plenty of times, and it's a learning experience, so it's okay if you make them early on and whatnot, but as you move on throughout your career, these are the things that you learn, but you're always grateful that somebody points it out to you, and I was grateful. Anyways, so while writing your CSS, a good way, in my opinion, in my experience, is to basically start off writing your CSS as you have first you style your standard globals, like your H1s, your P tags, your A tags. You set the appropriate font size, the appropriate colors, and then you move on to, say, utility classes. And by utility classes, what I mean is, if you want to, these utility classes are basically constant classes that you can use. You can just inject into your HTML elements, as you need. And that could be, say, a background color, or a border color, whatever it is. Your utility classes basically help you manipulate your CSS that will be more like on the go, if you will, and that's basically your CSS. And then you only style individual elements if you absolutely need to, which no design is such that everything is consistent throughout the site or the landing page, right? Like, you'll always have one div that's has a little bit more padding than another div, or you'll have like a border bottom on one particular section or div opposed to another. So that's when your utility classes come in, and you can use those and just put them into your class of your HTML element. So you want to think as dynamic and global as possible, because at the end of the day, you want to make life easier for yourself and the other developers that are working with you. I had a tendency to overcomplicate things sometimes when things could be just a lot simpler. And as I worked through, those things were pointed out. I learned those lessons, and now I realize the importance of writing your code as dynamically and globally as possible, because it not only makes life easier for you, it makes life easier for your team, and basically it speeds up your workflow. And at the end of the day, faster workflow, the faster you're shipping out projects, your boss is happy, your CEO is happy, and now that's more money for the company, and you have more projects coming in. So it all trickles down to your individual efforts as a developer. Okay, so that's CSS, and that was pretty brief, I understand. But we'll come back to that maybe in a later video. I want to talk a little bit about JavaScript. So I come from a mindset where I love functional programming, simply because it's just a lot more modular and cleaner, and that's just because I'm a very organized person. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but and that's actually one of the reasons I love React, because you can make your code modular. You can use libraries such as Redux, and you can separate your data from your view layer and whatnot. I'm actually building an app that tracks earthquakes around the globe, and basically I have a feature where basically I have a line graph that I'm using D3 to build, So I have a few line graphs, well, really one line graph. And the reason I'm stating this is to point out like the functional approach when it comes to writing your JavaScript. So basically I have a line graph and it shows the magnitude on the y-axis and the time, date and time UTC format of the earthquake. And there's one line graph per magnitude range. So from like, for example, from magnitude 3 to magnitude, to 4. So you have 3, 3.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., all the way to 4. That's one line graph spanning over the last 2 days, or however long your API call is. Your past date to like your current date. And basically I have different filters like magnitude 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once you click on them, the line graph changes and whatnot. The way I wrote that code was just with one helper function, one simple function. From the front end, have data attributes on my HTML element. When you click on it, when you click on the button, it injects the numbers into my helper function, and that one helper function now is doing all that code. So now I don't have a function for every single line graph. I have one function that's dynamic, that no matter what number I throw at it, it's gonna spit out an appropriate line graph based on the API. And there's also error handling. So at the end of the day, it makes your code cleaner, more reusable, which is what you want to strive for: reusable code that not only you can use down the road and manipulate a little bit here and there, but that your coworkers, your colleagues can also reuse. Having a functional approach doesn't only make your code cleaner, but it makes your code faster. Like I mentioned earlier, the faster you work, your boss is going to be even happier. And not only that, like, you're actually getting better as a programmer if you have more like a simpler approach opposed to overcomplicating things. And like I said before, I've made those mistakes where I used to overcomplicate things, and it's always a work in progress. You're always getting better and better and better. Or if you're striving for that, then that's what ends up happening, provided you put in the time. But yeah, like the more you build, and I guess I'm talking more to like juniors to mid-level. I would not say I'm a senior, like a senior, nor am I a junior. I would say I'm a strong mid-level. So that's the level that I can associate with the most. From when I started, when I was a junior, to like more like a mid-level. That's the level that I can associate with the most. And I learn from everybody. I try to learn from everybody. So the more insight that I learn and I can provide, the better I can help our community, I guess. But yeah, so moral of this video: try to go for more dynamic, try to go for more global. That's what you want to start off with. You want to just start off with a global mindset before you even start off writing any code. You basically want to just solve the problem on a piece of paper in English, just plain old English, or whatever language that's native to you first. You want to solve the problem in just basic, just draw diagrams, draw a little, scribble out like a workflow, and lesser code, simpler solution. And yeah, that's what you want to go for. And oh, nice. There's a dog. He's playing catch, German Shepherd. Yeah. So, anyways, just keep that in mind. If you guys have any questions, please just feel free to ask me. If you have any comments, just comment below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye.